Hello there everyone, how you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we're going into r/askreddit, where we're going to ask Reddit, what was your I almost got caught moment that you got away with? If you enjoy the stories I'm telling you, remember to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Now, without further ado, let's get started. I wanted to take my brother out when he was visiting, only I was 18 and my girlfriend was 20. Jessica had heard about a bar that wasn't checking ID. Turns out they spent a fortune on a wooden brass bar, tables and booths, and nobody was going there. They had only been open for 6 weeks, and the first month it was empty. This night it was packed. My brother, Jessica, and I got a booth, and we got served fine without getting ID. And then the cops swooped in, covering all of the entrances. They checked each person and ticketed them, and moved through the crowds. Of course, the bathrooms got mobbed by kids trying to hide there, and Jessica tried to get up and go there as well. My brother just told us to be cool and sit down, and he ordered another round. The waitress was not busy all of a sudden. We had 3 rounds, enough to get a nice buzz going on while watching the show. The cops moved through the crowd to the bathrooms, and as somebody would come out, they'd get ticketed. There were sobs, attempts to BS, and reason with them. The show was over, and nobody left in the bar, so we moved on once the cops left. Well, that's definitely one way of faking it till you make it. When I was 17, I had a fake ID. Well, it was actually real, but it was my friend's ID, who looked kind of like me, but he was 3 years older. So I often was the one who would go buy alcohol since it was a real ID. It always worked, as long as they didn't ask for 2 pieces. And well, one time I was going to buy us some booze at a store I'd been to many times before. When I went to pay, they were like, "Oh, we found a card that we think belongs to you. You must have dropped it last time." And I was a little puzzled, wondering what it could be. And what do they pull out? My actual high school photo ID that I must have dropped last time I was pulling the fake ID out of my wallet. I thought it was busted, but I just kept insisting it wasn't me, just the guy who looked similar. Both of them kept pressing me about it, but I stuck to my story. Sadly, had to just accept the student ID was a loss. Still got the booze! Highway patrol passed us, slammed on his brakes, and followed us for 2 minutes. He slows down, throws on his lights, and pulls over a car 2 lengths behind us. Let's just say the Jeep was filled with more weed than my buddy's Jeep was even worth. That was a long, long ride back home, and a long, long time ago. And then someone in the comments goes, I have a similar one. In 2019, 3 friends and myself drove to Germany to Oktoberfest and did a mini tour of Europe. Drinking wasn't all we were doing, and my friend had the biggest ball of cocaine I'd ever seen before. We were on the Autobahn and a police officer pulled us over. We were in my car. UK plates which stand out like a sore thumb in Europe. German law is that they can't search your car without a reason. But somehow I forgot my registration papers for my car, which German law says you must have with you. One of my friends was absolutely crapping himself, and it was obvious. After a bit of playing on the language barrier, they got a call and said, just carry on, and they rushed off. Not a mile down the road, there was a lorry overturned on the other side of the motorway. That's absolutely wild. I used to get home from school before my mom would get home from work. I would unwrap my Nintendo that was under the tree and play it for 2 hours every day until Christmas. Oh, damn. Did he rewrap it? And he responds with, yes, every day with the same paper. I only had to open one side of the box. It was funny on Christmas Day. Everyone thought I was a genius at Mario because I knew the game by memory. I think I got to the point where I just folded it without tape, and just before Christmas I taped it again. Back when I was a cruddy little 13-year-old in 2003, my friends and I had this strip mall that we would go to skateboard on because of this little raised sitting area with a 3 stair on one side and a 4 stair on the other. But each step was like 2 feet wide, made for some good skating. But there was this adult store right in front of it. There were only ones who would come out and give us crud about skating there. Well, one day we're over there. A couple of my friends were on their bikes and a couple of us on skateboards. The workers at the store gave us some crud, so we decided to get payback. There was a Burger King in front of the parking lot at the strip mall. We head over there and order a large drink. We empty it out and take turns peeing in it. The adult store had their door propped open that day, so one of my friends hopped on the pegs of another friend's bike. They ride by and toss the large cup of pee into the door, and we book it. A few blocks away at another strip mall, we get caught by the cops. He takes a few of us back, not all of us, but I was included. He makes us apologize and clean it up, rightfully so. Again, we were little cruds. After we clean it up, he starts asking us our addresses to bring us all home and talk to our parents. I was the first one on the list to get dropped off. Literally 2 blocks from my house, he gets a call over his radio about a 4-wheeler running cars off the highway. He stops at the stop sign before my street and says, "Alright guys, I gotta take this call. Just don't be freaking stupid anymore." He let us all out and took off. It has been 20 years and my mom still doesn't know this one. Oh boy, that would have been one angry mom. So back in high school, we are in the next town over drinking at a friend's house, whose parents were out of town. So it seems someone called cops who show up and tell us to go outside. They line everyone up and start writing down names and numbers to call parents. I yell out I need to pee, and so does my best friend, and we get told go in and come straight back out. Like the genius 17-year-old I am, I listen. Go in and straight out the back door at full sprint, and about 7 strides in, I hit a chicken wire fence, and my friend is able to half jump over it. We scramble to get up and go between backyards. 4 blocks down to another friend's house and hide out. Met the cop a year later, and he said I looked familiar, but didn't know where from. Thankfully, I just said I used to work at the town's grocery store, and he said that must be it. Ooh, that's a little mastermind moment. When I was 4, my mom cut my hair, and I was angry that my bangs were still in my face. As soon as she left, I got the scissors and cut a huge chunk out of them. She came back in the room, paused, stared at my hair, and said, "Wow, I must have taken a bit too much off." And I never told her the truth. While in the army, I forgot to take off my ID to base with me. Instead of calling my Nico at midnight to come vouch for me at the gate, I decided to turn off all my lights and drive the old tank trails of my F-150 around the armed checkpoints. In the checkpoint I got closest to, I could see the guard in the window facing away from me as he was talking to someone else. If they'd been paying any modicum of attention, I may have gotten shot. As I was making the drive, I also realized I may get run over by an M1. Factory where I used to work got in a new 300,000 CNC machine. The machine sat in the warehouse until the cement pad was ready. When running a forklift, I drove past the machine, and pallet I was carrying blocked my view. I sheared one of the servo motors off the side of the machine. Quick look around, and no one in sight. I just kept on moving. I stay over in the far side of the factory for 30 minutes and then return to the warehouse to find all the managers in suits standing around looking at the damaged machine. They asked if I knew anything about it. Nope, I must have looked innocent because I never heard another word. And that's the guy who doesn't deserve to be forklift certified. Once upon a time, my writing was the skill that allowed me to BS my way through school. One year, my wife, girlfriend at the time, and I had one literature class together at the university. The final exam was worth about 60% of the grade. The essay portion was about 80% of the final. I read and wrote both our books and papers. The essay was handed in several days before the multiple choice exam. I finished my multiple choice final before her, and when I turned in my exams, I got pulled into the hallway for a chat with the professor. The professor's like, I know you wrote her paper for her. You know that's grounds for expulsion for both of you, right? And I said, I didn't. You probably know we are close. We study together. We share ideas. Yes, the writing style is probably much like mine, but I can tell you she wrote it herself. I do the proofreading and make suggestions on the flow and structure of the paper. I think the editing I do shows through way more than it should, but I can tell you she wrote her own paper. I cannot tell you how many bullets I sweated making that directly false statement, but I had so much confidence with that lie that it gave the professor pause. He thought on it for about a minute and said it was okay. We did not get expelled. It didn't do me any good because I dropped out later that year. However, my wife eventually did finish her degree. I always wondered what the outcome would have been if my wife finished the exam first. Ooh, this is a fun one. Strap in. I once worked for a Midwestern chain supermarket with a former roommate and a friend from high school. Now, this former roommate looked eerily similar to me from the right angles, and we had the same first name, and this is an important detail, so we'll refer to him as Squid2, and my friend will be Friend. A little preface. Before we worked at the supermarket, we were freshly graduated and high on freedom, and just in general. We had little money, and due to some insider info, we learned about this supermarket's loss prevention tactics. Turns out the general rule of thumb was if there are no designated loss prevention team members present, no regular floor clerk is actually allowed to stop anyone they suspect of theft. Makes the store liable for any potential incidents that may occur. So we abused the hell out of that. We ate free for the entire summer. Well, fall came and hood rat level shenanigans slowed right down. It was time to buckle up and get a job. Hilariously, this same supermarket was hiring, and all three of us were hired in three separate departments. This gave us more insider information on who exactly loss prevention was, and when they were there. So we didn't slow down. Money ran out before weekly pay? It's alright, I'll grab some beef jerky and an energy drink on my way to the back. This escalated to trading cards, loose cheap DS games, you name it. Well, crud hit the fan one day, and several of our friends were at our apartment, waiting for Squid 2 to get home. He never did, and we just assumed he found something else to do. I go into work next day, and one of my coworkers calls me up and says, Dude, what did Squid 2 do? I'm just as surprised, and after I tell him he never came home, he fills me in. Turns out at some point Squid 2 was pulled aside by loss prevention, attempting to steal boxes of Kraft mac and cheese on his way out after his shift. After 2 weeks, Friend was caught just trying to clock out. The friend reveals to us that they had a lot of incidents on camera. They were just waiting for the right time. I was getting my affairs in order. At this point, I'm drinking water, popping Nyquil, and the whole 9 yards. So I wait my 2 weeks. Nothing happens. 1 month, 2 full months, and at this point, I'm just in the clear. My strongest theory, Squid 2 and I looked so much alike via the grainy security camera footage, and my goodwill with my department is more than likely what saved me from a very serious charge, and definitely some jail time. Unfortunately, I've never really won on a lotto ticket in exchange. Fair trade-off, if you ask me. That's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed the stories I had for you, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and check out my Ko-Fi. Maybe throw me a few bucks if you enjoy, because I don't make any money from my videos yet. See you next time.